Welcome back. This is the Poet is a Human with the Philosopher Dunamis on this week's episode number 61, Fight for Disclosure. Please be sure to hit that like button on your way in, and if you like us, consider subscribing to keep up with our episodes on YouTube and give us a follow on X.
Fightcast is here to empower individuals to live healthier, master finances, pursue dreams, and inspire others through self-awareness and global impact. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and not financial advice. So, Izzy, how are you doing this week, man?
Oh my gosh, what a week, dude. It has been a very productive week. Shout out to the team as always. There has been some scattered rain, so to speak. So it's always character building and it's always rewarding on the other side. But you know,
Well, you know, this is it's kind of I feel like it's kind of a goofy evening for myself even, Um
how are you?
I'm you know, I'm feeling good. I really am. It's all sorts of reasons to hope for the future. There's there this is really a pivotal moment, I think, also for this country. I just want to say, like, there's at the same time as there would even be, reason to worry about jobs and AI and all of the other narratives that kind of go along with that. There's equal amounts of reason to be hopeful. I feel great, man. So you
Good.
feeling good too?
Not yeah, little better now that I'm on the other side and on to the next level. Feeling feeling confident in some ways and feeling like need to practice better discernment in other areas. But I think this topic this week with disclosure and discernment, they go hand in hand actually. And there's so much disclosure these days, and I think media for that. Given us the opportunity to either be confused or really put these things together like they were meant to be. And I know that there's a lot of hot topic subjects we could talk about, the Epstein files being one of them. And, I know we've talked off air plenty of times about this, and it just keeps unraveling more and more. And um, I don't know if you know about this portion of it, but even on Cardano's side, Noom made the announcement that they will be closing shop. So that was something else that the Solidity team, myself, had some earlier conversations about, and just looking at the music ecosystem as a whole and blockchain, and looking at where we stand. So, yeah, there's been a multitude of things that have been put on the table. And as you had mentioned, hopeful is definitely a nice word to put, because although I, see, how projects have, put their foot out and, represented themselves, and, everybody had their varying results. It's nice to see that we've developed a system within our business that operates in a manner that it truly is dependent on the momentum, or the efforts that we put into it. Fight. It's nice to have that level of sovereignty. With that on the other side. So yeah, it gives me hope to looking into this new year as hopefully a business that people look for first in the yellow pages, as you will.
Heck yeah, man. Like, you know, um, the um, the fight brand, as it were, and it sounds kind of cringe for me to say that in my mind, but it's but we were talking earlier today about how you know, things have been difficult, things have been rough. January was touch and go for me. I um i uh i was able to feed my kids based on it really was from the kindness of strangers. That's what I think of as tips, and I made enough in tips in January to feed myself, my wife, and my kids, for the time that I had them. I wish I had them for more, but I think fight, we were talking earlier today about what that really means. And, I mean, the thought of going somewhere else, of closing shop, you know, we haven't been funded. There's no, there's no, we haven't asked. We never came with our hands out, you know. We don't need your money. We, I
Right.
really, we have everything we need in a, we have everything we need in abundance. And there's for the time being, this has really just been, I think we've been documenting this project for a long time. We've missed, I think, a couple weeks, but I really feel like this is a turning of the seasons. I think that having Drew on was just amazing. So for those in our audience that missed that, really go back to last week, because this week is not going to be nearly as good.
Yeah.
You know,
Lights up every room he walks in. So shout out to him for that. And as we mentioned, kind of earlier on, not this episode, but we are with this season 2 looking to have more guests on here, and yeah, just having just some heartier talks. Get that chunky soup in you. Kind of like the old school days where it was the NFL and you had all the players in there and the moms and the Campbell's chunky soup kind of deal. As the plot thickens, as do the episodes. So we want to make sure that we're staying current with times, and I don't think that's very hard for us to do. I don't think relevancy is a concern of ours. I think we're pretty privy, with having sovereign thoughts, to use that word again.
definitely, absolutely, dude, 100%. I I would really like to have, if possible, some of the guests that we've had in the past back on, because I think that we've been so fortunate. I think in the first year that we ran, we were so fortunate in the people that we were able to speak with, and gave their time to us, even in a time when crypto's outlook was potentially more favorable to the masses, which it really, social metrics will tell you right now it's not currently. But this is not just a crypto project that we're running. This podcast is to help you guys navigate this world that we're navigating. Since 2019 and 2020, really, I've personally seen just there's things have changed. They There were books. I remember hearing a lot about this in 2020, written about the generations, and this term was floated around, the fourth turning. Um, there's a lot of these things I think that we saw and we've talked about for a long time. Izzy, I've known you for a long time. We've even, um, we've talked about a lot of these things on for the last year on this podcast that are just like, there are people right now that are for the first time waking up to the fact that this world is not what they thought it was, you know. And how do I handle that? How do I deal with that? Um, there is a great, I would say, the Ape Society was a project that was on Cardano. Unfortunately, I think they left the chain. And so I will say one thing about one of the avatars from that project had a X account and went by the name Thorpe Brown. Believe I still follow him on X, and wrote a book. And that book was published, I believe, through book.io. And it was something along the lines of your reality is a construction.
Mm.
And it was his meditations, regarding an existential crisis. And I had been going through an existential crisis of my own. I don't want to call it a midlife crisis. Maybe that's just because I'm 46 and, maybe a little sensitive still about that topic. But but it's but that's yeah, it was more than that, really. I questioned reality in so many ways. And I still question reality. I question, I was watching a documentary today on simulation theory, and I've seen so many of them already. You know, um, I think that we call me a philosopher and we call you a poet when we talk on these podcasts, but I really do. I think very deeply about a lot of these things, and so much so that I probably have more anxiety than any human should probably have to deal with.
Why
Um,
though? I guess that's my question. Like why? I feel like we shouldn't. I don't even think hide is the word because I don't think that we necessarily hide, but I feel like we're in a day and age where you know there are so many people out here that as much as people are lying, there are just as many people that are telling the truth. And I like to think that we're on the side of telling people the truth. And I think that, yes, that comes with great responsibility and, great discernment and awareness on how we choose our words. But, I don't necessarily, and Shaggy was the one who brought it to my attention because he's like, oh, God, I guess for lack of better words, he's like, why are you dunamis afraid that you guys are gonna get like doxxed or something? And I laughed at him. Bro, it's so funny, dude. He made me laugh too, because he's like, bruh, he's like, you want me to be honest with you? He's like, they ain't thinking about y'all right now. He said, nah, he's like, yeah, and then we got to talking and da 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 and whatnot. Now on two ends of the spectrum, I thought to myself, well, that's nice. And then on the other end, I'm like, well, clearly we need to keep freaking doing this so then we do become a topic of conversation, so then I guess we have something to worry about. But, you know, as long as God is on our side and as long as we keep God in our hearts, I don't fear the other side of, what happens because history is repeating itself regularly and it hasn't stopped repeating itself. So the the playbook is the same, and it's been easy to run the same playbook because the distractions are just they're so low hanging fruit that it's just easy to catch somebody with a coupon or something that's on sale or buy one get one free or a 6 o'clock news or anything that actively disrupts you and you now call it your programming. This just it's easy to do that. It's the people that turn the TV off, that turn off the propaganda, the ones that are comfortable like us sitting in silence, that can make sense of all of this when the world isn't yelling at you, um, and we're not letting it yell at us because that's the thing. The world, like, we choose we choose these things. We choose our distractions, you know, and that's the irony of it all, you
we
know.
we do, but I'm gonna come at you just a little bit and just say that, like,
Let's get it.
All right. So I think we do, but at the same time, I think that these things have been engineered to be addictive.
Yes.
And so this thing that gives you just a taste, and yes, you think that this is exactly what you want to do. You want to go and play the stupid game, then you want to see the number go up. You want to get that dopamine hit from, you want to catch your news from scrolling on your phone instead of, listening to a long form conversation. You want to hear the latest, you know, even the latest hip hop song, which I love, versus listening to Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, which I was listening to today and is absolutely beautiful. But it takes 15 minutes to listen to, you know what I'm saying? And it's these things are different, and I think that we've been conditioned over time, and I don't think it's our fault. I think that that would be the wrong word to use. I don't think that I don't think that humans are in this state because we chose to be in this state. I think that we're in this state because we've been conditioned to be here. And I think it's been very intentional. And I think if we don't do something about it radical, we're in some serious effing trouble. And, you know, um, just self editing for a second there because, like, everything that I've heard here in the past week or two has been horrific. We are talking about the references and the Epstein files, the connections to potentially, politicians and whoever is involved in this thing. I think just I'll just say it's reprehensible, and they need to be absolutely arrested. And I think that it's been the public intention of at least this project that those individuals, I would like to see them executed on pay-per-view personally. I hope that doesn't mince words. I want to see them fucking hanged for 69.99 on DirecTV. That's what I want.
For 69.99 on DirecTV Showtime.
Yeah, you know.
Dude, it's so good versus evil, and it's been like this for such a long time. And it's been political, it's been religious, it's been racial, it's been who's got the better drapes in their house, who's got the better table, who had the better carpenter make their dresser. There's just, again, all of these things, and like you said, it's all been designed, and I 100% agree with you for sure, all of it to the T. And the good versus the evil, and how we on the one side talk about getting into the buildings, infiltrating the buildings, and fixing the water filtration system, is also what's happening on the other side, where excuse me. See, they got me. Um where there's poison in the well. And I think about,
Mm.
gosh, what was I watching? I was watching something along the lines of, the grid, and how everything is rectangular, and everything fits into this grid, from the shapes to the couches, to the design of houses, to everything fits within this matrix. And then you had this person that was sitting on the couch watching the TV, and they had like half of their flesh, and then it was like their brain, and it was kind of like in a rinsing state, where it's kind of being wrung out, just from all of the brainless motion, activities. And yeah,
That sounds horrible.
it, yeah,
That sounds absolutely horrible.
bruh, yeah, and on the one end of it, like you and I talked offline, it's like the things that it, and how do you navigate that, when you think about, like, even just sitting down to watch TV. and thinking to yourself, am I just indulging in this brainless activity when I could be, trying to save the world or something like that? Like
Yeah, let's actually touch on that some more because that's some serious mental health self-care information right there potentially for our listeners. If you're waking up right now, if you're not aware, you're a slave to the new world order, welcome. And
been one, yeah.
but in that, like, there's I there is freedom available for anyone willing to take it. I live in a country that's very fortunate in that we've had a lot of people bleed and die for that freedom here. So that here in the United States, I have the freedom of speech. I can at least theoretically say whatever I want. And if the Gestapo, we talk about being doxxed, that's why I chuckle because, the FBI knows who I am, the NSA knows who I am, everyone knows who I am, that needs to, you know. I is there, there's no serious secrets there. This whole account is attached to a Google account, so there you go.
Uh-oh.
It's, you know, and it's attached to my real name and address and all that shit. So yeah, I
Literally.
mean, I'm not hiding stuff all that much. I don't necessarily want a political leaning nutcase, right leaning or left leaning, to show up on my doorstep and shoot me in the face. So I'd rather not just put my name on there so it's super easy to find my address. That's
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
the minimal of it.
I 100% subscribe to everything that you just said. And yeah, I just want peace. I want to be able to protect my rights. And Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams both had incredible comedy sketches that spoke on that. And Dave Chappelle specifically uh, spoke about being in Saudi Arabia, I believe, and
Oh
was
yeah.
talking about how he felt safer telling certain jokes over there than he felt over here.
Yeah. Yeah, because we say we have freedom of speech here, but really, how free is it? I mean, you ask certain questions to the AI, and you figure out real quick what you can and can't talk about. But and I'm not even going to try and ruffle feathers all that much here in this episode. But I just want to say that, like, with the Epstein files coming out, I think that it's important to understand the American people are not going to be silenced. That we want to know these things. We want to understand that the people who govern us are not above the law. That's what they love to say, is that no one is above the law. And yet we understand that there is a two-tier system in this country and that we're not in the tier that is above the law. Me and you is a human. And so, you know, if I say the wrong thing, sure, yeah, I know I can appeal to the Supreme Court and all this and that, but I understand if I say the wrong thing, I might just disappear. Who knows, right? But I'm not in touch with any kind of crazy secrets that are going to get me in trouble like that. I'm just saying that if you're new to the program and we're in season 2 and if you're in a situation like I found myself a few years ago, questioning reality, questioning who you are as a man or a woman or, you know, just as an individual, and things don't feel right and the entire world feels upside down, just understand that, like, it's normal. That's sort of what is actually going on right now. And you know, stay tuned because um we have the same questions, right? Like, we're trying to figure this out with you, and I think we're finding out a lot. And unfortunately, at least I tend to agree with what Joe Rogan had to say on it. That's a lot of it's demonic. It feels very disgusting and sick, and the thought that any of this kind of stuff happened alongside people in power in the United States just makes me disgusted, and trying to bring that in line with how I was raised is extremely difficult as an individual. So,
Yeah, and the art of just love and the art of Jesus and the Bible and what it talks about and loving thy neighbor um, in these circumstances. How do you quote unquote remain holy? And the Bible talks about forgiveness and a lot of teachings talk about forgiveness and that art of peace. And my biggest takeaway with all of this is these things are tragic. It's evil. It is evil. And even in the midst of evil, Jesus, you know, he gave all of his glory and all of his faith in, in his Father. And, that's how I feel, even with all of this weird stuff going on in the world, but just in the sense of feeling prepared and feeling protected and having the intuition of you know knowing where I'm at and the people that I'm around and the people that I do talk to. You know, the place this place that we live in is predictable and unpredictable at the same time because we talk about these things, we talk about privacy, and we've got Google accounts, and like I run a business, you know what I mean? So, it's my home, at my home. So, not hiding, there, like you said, just don't want, you know, weird people to just be like, how you doing? Like just stay over there, stay over there. I'm going to stay over here and be prepared to be protected. And, I'm not afraid, and I can only continue to like love myself and forgive, you know, and I can't specifically say I forgive this entity for this or that, it's just the art of forgiving. This world is wicked, and I will never disagree, with any of that. The world is evil, but God is beautiful, and God wins every time, and all glory be to God. And the reality of all of this is, even in the book, it talks about revelations, and it talks about how all of these things come back. They do. In Buddha teachings, it speaks of karma. All of these things come back. They do. And unfortunately, don't have a magic thumb that I can just snap and just say, karma, unleash yourself now. Evil, show your face. Would be nice. But also on the other end, I think we do have that power because it also talks in the book about how these things that are happening in plain sight. So that goes back into the if you're just now waking up, folks, it's been happening to us in plain sight. And we do have that thumb, and we do have the magic to turn the TV off, to turn the noise off, and to really see this for what it is. It's not something to be scared about. It's us finally taking control of our lives and us creating the program, us creating the patterns, us being around the people that we choose to be around. And that's how we expand community and through spiritual growth.
yeah, it's the the network television has been dying and is basically dead now. I think independent media is the future and is what's happening. For us personally, this whole thing has been kind of a funny struggle with crypto and you know the way media changes. And I'll just say it, there's really a pay to play model involved with all of this, with X, with this distribution platform that we use with anything, Facebook, with ads, with all of it. So, you know, it's if you're a pizza delivery driver, you're not going to be the next big influencer for the most part, unless you spend a little money on ads or you have something viral go off. But you know, the algorithm does what it does, and you know, there's the things that we've been talking about for a long time have been very therapeutic for me, and I know that I saw them far in advance, and it's documented. You can go back in the episodes, but it's not necessarily the most cutting edge entertainment. And once we get to the point here with this disclosure, it's almost horrifying. Like some of the stuff that's coming out, it's just like stuff I don't even want to know. It's I don't know. Like we used to talk about blue pill, red pill, and all of this stuff feels very black pill. It's right. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this is all very it's depressing, man. It's I don't want to think this way about the world that I live in. Again, it makes me feel like the radical changes that I've been making in my life are for the better. but 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 that's not a reassuring feeling, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I battle with that duality of life daily, and it's one that's worth battling. It's one worth building the character for, and it's worth getting closer to God every day. And this world is wicked, man. But where we're at in our lives, like dude, you have overcome a lot in your life. I've overcome, and our team's overcome a lot. So to be able to get to this, to even this transition point of living versus surviving and over surviving, and again, just having a safe space to, talk to people that are like minded, no matter the risk, because I know that the reward is just the clearing of the air, the things that we have in our minds daily, and to be able to have those conversations with people who get it, it's so much easier to file those things in cabinets and sort them out and organize them so you just don't feel like you're just this ball of insanity and you need to be locked away in a psych ward because you're screaming that the government is out to get you. Like at least there's other people out here that are like, hey man, they might get us, but
Hey,
we're gonna swing it.
it's tough, man. This life is tough, but I think that I think that we're going to have more disclosure, and I think that we're going to probably wrap this up because it's a heavy subject. You can only take so much of it.
Agreed, man. No, I think that this was good, and I appreciate everybody who tuned in this week for episode 61, and be on the lookout next week for episode number 62. You don't know what we got coming, but just know it's coming.
And like I'm just going to close on this because I was having a conversation recently with someone, and how difficult it is to make friends in this day and age because
Mm.
so many of the things that people talk about, and I can't have surface level conversations anymore. I don't understand what it is, but
Yeah.
I've known several other people this way, and I think that we have this. You and I have this close connection, and there's several other people that I know that are this way, but I just can't. I can't talk about sports. I can't talk about the Grammys or the whatever, any like I can't pretend to care about anything other than like what it's going to take for my descendants to survive the next 20 years.
Yeah. Just in this, yeah, and I'll end it on this note too. I think now whenever I watch things, there's always something that I'm looking for with the things that I'm watching, or looking for with the things that I'm doing, recording music, a message that I'm putting out there. So there's a lot of detail in the things that I do, whether it be from the clothes that I wear to the shoes to whatever it is. There's a rhyme and a reason to that, and um, making sense of the things that I watch now and understanding a meaning, because there is a meaning behind everything. I'm not just, again, what you said earlier, the insane guy out here hugging trees. Like, all of this stuff is here for a reason. It's in our face for a reason. It's
Yeah.
our reality for a reason. And I'm a student to this life, and I am forever indebted in God's mercy, for having these eyes. So I want to utilize these senses that I was blessed in having, to really feel, what it means, um, you know, to be Christ-like.
Yeah. If we're not, if nothing else, bringing forth a message that is of unity, of love, of peace, then we're not speaking any truth at all, you know. And I think that that is the exact opposite of what is probably pervade in much of the media today. And so, yeah, let our message be peace and unity and love when the rest of the world is crying the opposite, right?
Amen.
Well, hey, man, like I think that we have some hard hitting topic on the slate for next week, but I think we're gonna wait for next week to talk about it, if that's all right.
Oh, definitely, man. No, this has been a pleasure. Again, thank you guys for tuning in with us, and yeah, man. Until then, never give up the fight.
Never give up the fight.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test, expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.